The vastness of space stretched endlessly before the ESS Pathfinder as it glided through the outer reaches of Jupiter's orbit. The ship's engines hummed quietly, a gentle vibration that had become familiar to the crew over their 6-month mission to study the gas giant's mysterious new radiation patterns. Captain Hanwoo Park stood tall at his command station, his experienced eyes fixed on the main view screen. His crisp blue uniform bore the patches of countless exploration missions, but nothing in his 20 years of service had prepared him for what they were about to discover. "Navigation, hold position here," he ordered, his voice steady despite the growing tension in his chest. The ship's computers responded instantly, bringing them to a perfect stop relative to the unusual readings they'd been tracking. Dr. Jaya Kim worked quickly at her science station, her fingers dancing across the holographic displays as she processed the incoming data. Her normally composed demeanor showed cracks of excitement as readings continued to pour in. The strange energy signatures they detected from Earth had led them here, but what they found defied all explanation. "Captain, these readings..." She paused, double-checking her instruments. "They're unlike anything in our database. The energy pattern suggests artificial construction, but the complexity, it's beyond anything humanity has achieved." The bridge crew worked in focused silence, each attending to their stations with practiced efficiency. Lieutenant Minho at Tactical kept the defensive systems ready, though his hand stayed steady on the controls. Communications Officer Soo-jin monitored all frequencies, searching for any sign of transmitted signals. Through the main viewport, they could see it now, a perfect sphere of what appeared to be polished metal, approximately 500 meters in diameter, floating serenely against the backdrop of Jupiter's swirling clouds. Its surface showed no visible seams or markings, yet it reflected the distant sunlight with an almost liquid shimmer. "Full sensor sweep," Captain Park commanded, his eyes never leaving the object. "Dr. Kim, what can you tell me about its composition?" Jaya frowned at her readings. "The outer shell appears to be some form of metal alloy, but its molecular structure is shifting. It's as if the entire surface is in constant motion at the atomic level. Internal scans are being reflected back, suggesting some kind of defensive shielding we've never encountered before." The captain nodded, processing this information. "Any sign of weapon systems?" "Negative, sir," Minho reported from Tactical. "Though with technology this advanced, we might not be able to recognize them even if they were there." Suddenly, Soo-jin straightened in her chair. "Captain, I'm detecting something on all frequencies. It's like nothing I've ever heard before." Before Captain Park could respond, the sphere began to change. A soft blue glow emerged from within the metallic surface, growing steadily brighter. The light pulsed in a regular pattern, like a heartbeat, each wave sending ripples across the sphere's surface. "Energy readings are spiking," Jaya announced, her voice tense but controlled. "Whatever it is, it's powering up." Captain Park's mind raced through his options. Their mission parameters hadn't covered first contact scenarios. They were supposed to be studying Jupiter's radiation patterns, not making history. But here they were, facing what could only be proof of alien intelligence. "All hands, battle stations," he ordered, though he kept his tone calm. "This is not a drill. Lieutenant Minho, maintain defensive posture, but do not target weapons. Dr. Kim, record everything. Soo-jin, broadcast our first contact greeting package on all frequencies." The sphere's pulsing increased in intensity. The blue light now filled the bridge with its ethereal glow, casting everything in surreal shadows. The crew watched in stunned silence as geometric patterns began to form on the sphere's surface, complex designs that seemed to flow and shift like water. "Captain," Jaya called out, her voice barely above a whisper, "the energy signature, it's responding to our greeting. The patterns, they're not random. They're mathematics, pure mathematics." Park moved to her station, studying the scrolling data on her screen. Basic equations appeared first. The value of pi, the golden ratio, prime numbers. then more complex formulas, including some he recognized from quantum physics. They're establishing a baseline for communication, Jayat explained, her excitement barely contained. This is exactly how we plan to communicate with alien life, starting with universal mathematical constants. The sphere's surface suddenly rippled like a disturbed pond, and a beam of light shot out, stopping just short of the Pathfinder's hull. Within the beam, complex three-dimensional shapes formed and dissolved, each more intricate than the last. "Sir," Su Jin called out, "I'm receiving a transmission through the light beam. It's translating itself into our computer systems." Captain Park returned to his command station, straightening his uniform. 20 years of space exploration had led to this moment. Humanity's first contact with an alien civilization was happening on his watch, and he was determined to handle it with the dignity and professionalism the moment deserved. "Put it on main screen," he ordered. The view screen flickered to life with symbols unlike anything they'd seen before. But as they watched, the alien characters began to transform, rearranging themselves into Earth languages. The message was simple but profound. "You have been observed. You are ready. Welcome." The bridge crew sat in stunned silence as the implications of those words sank in. They hadn't found alien life. Alien life had found them, had been watching them, waiting for humanity to reach this point. As if responding to their realization, the sphere's brilliant blue light pulsed one final time, bathing the entire ship in its glow. In that moment, Captain Hanwoo Park and his crew knew that everything would change. Humanity's place in the universe would never be the same. The first contact had begun, and with it, a new chapter in human history was about to unfold. The Grand Chamber of the United Earth Parliament buzzed with nervous energy as representatives from every nation gathered for this historic session. The massive hall, with its sweeping glass dome and polished marble columns, had never felt more crowded. Sunlight streamed through the dome, casting long shadows across the assembled delegates. Ambassador Li Su gripped the edges of the podium, his weathered hand steady despite the weight of the moment. The document before him, printed on what appeared to be liquid metal that shifted and shimmered, contained words that would forever change human history. "Distinguished members of Parliament," he began, his voice clear and strong. "2 months ago, our species made first contact with an advanced alien civilization near Jupiter. Today, I stand before you with their response." The chamber fell silent. Even the usual whispers and rustling of papers ceased. Every eye focused on the elderly ambassador as he lifted the alien document. The Galactic Council, governing body of over 200 spacefaring civilizations, has extended an official summons to Earth. They request our presence at their central station to evaluate humanity's readiness for membership in their interstellar community. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. Ambassador Li Su waited for them to subside before continuing. "The Council has provided us with technical specifications for upgrading one of our vessels to make the journey. They have selected the ESS Pathfinder, citing its crew's handling of first contact as exemplary." In the observation gallery, Captain Hanwoo Park sat quietly, his expression neutral despite the pride he felt hearing his ship's name. Beside him, Dr. Jaya Kim studied the technical specifications displayed on her tablet, her eyes widening at the incredible advances they would need to implement. "The Council has given us 1 Earth month to prepare," Li Su continued. "They have provided us with the necessary technological information to upgrade our chosen vessel for interstellar travel. This is not merely an invitation, it is a test. How we handle this opportunity will determine humanity's place among the stars." The chamber erupted in discussion. Nations that had been rivals for centuries now found themselves united by this unprecedented challenge. The upgrade of the Pathfinder would require global cooperation on a scale never before attempted. Captain Park spent the next 3 weeks overseeing the transformation of his ship. The Pathfinder's hull was reinforced with alien alloys that seemed to adapt and strengthen themselves. The engine core was completely rebuilt, incorporating technology that bent the very fabric of spacetime. Dr. Kim worked tirelessly with engineering teams from around the world, helping them understand and implement the alien technologies. Her expertise in xenophysics proved invaluable as they integrated systems that operated on principles that defied conventional physics. The final addition to the crew came in the form of military strategist Sun Hee-cho, a brilliant tactical mind who had revolutionized space combat theory. Though barely 30, she had earned a reputation for thinking in ways that broke free from traditional military doctrine. The Council specifically requested a military perspective. Sun Hee explained during her first meeting with Captain Park. They want to understand how we think, how we solve problems, how we fight. It makes me wonder what challenges we might face out there. The night before their departure, Captain Park stood in the observation deck of the orbital shipyard, watching teams of workers make final adjustments to the Pathfinder's exterior. The ship he had commanded for 5 years now looked almost alien itself, its hull rippling with the same liquid metal sheen as the Council's summons. "Beautiful, isn't it?" Dr. Kim's voice came from behind him. She joined him at the window, her tablet displaying the final system checks. The integration of their technology with ours. It's poetry in motion. "Are we ready for this, Jaya?" Park asked quietly. "Not just the ship, humanity. Are we ready to join a community of advanced civilizations?" "They think we are," Sun Hee answered, joining them. She wore her formal military uniform, already prepared for tomorrow's departure ceremony. "They've been watching us, remember? They chose this moment for a reason." The next morning, as the upgraded Pathfinder prepared for departure, Ambassador Lee Su delivered one final message to the crew. "You carry with you not just the hopes of a nation, but the dreams of our entire species. The Galactic Council awaits. Show them what humanity is capable of." Captain Park stood on his new bridge, marveling at how familiar and yet how alien it felt. The holographic displays shimmered with data in both human and Council script. His crew, each chosen for their exceptional abilities and adaptability, waited for his command. "Navigation, plot course according to Council coordinates," he ordered. "Dr. Kim, monitor the new drive systems. Sun Hee, maintain strategic analysis of all we encounter. Let's show the galaxy what Earth has to offer." The Pathfinder's new engines hummed to life, creating a sound unlike anything human ears had ever heard. As they prepared to leave Earth's orbit, Captain Park couldn't help but feel that they were about to embark on the most important journey in human history. The stars beckoned, and humanity was finally ready to answer their call. The Pathfinder's crew stood in awe as they entered the vast Council chamber. The circular room stretched upward for what seemed like kilometers, its walls lined with hovering platforms, where representatives from hundreds of civilizations watched their arrival. The air shimmered with holographic displays and translation fields, creating a soft, multicolored glow throughout the chamber. Dr. Jaya Kim clutched her presentation materials tightly, her heart racing as she took in the diversity of life forms around them. Some species appeared almost human, while others defied description. Beings of pure energy, crystalline entities, and forms that seemed to shift between states of matter. Council leader Taeho sat at the center of the chamber, his silvery skin reflecting the ambient light. His species had evolved in the depths of gas giants, and his environmental suit hummed softly as it maintained the high-pressure atmosphere he needed to survive. "Representatives of Earth," Taeho's voice came through their translation devices, "you stand before the Galactic Council for assessment. Your species has achieved faster-than-light travel, triggering our protocols for evaluation. Dr. Kim, you may begin your presentation." Jaya stepped forward, her movements confident despite her nervousness. With a gesture, she activated the chamber's holographic systems, and a timeline of human technological development appeared in the air above them. "Honored Council members," she began, "I present to you humanity's journey from our first steps toward the stars to our current capabilities." The timeline expanded, showing Earth's first powered flight in 1903. Images of the Wright brothers' aircraft floated in the chamber, drawing curious murmurs from the assembled representatives. Within 66 years of this first flight, Humans set foot on our moon. Jaya continued, advancing the timeline to show the Apollo missions. And within another 50 years, we had established permanent bases on our moon and Mars. Council leader Tejo leaned forward, his multiple eyes focusing intently on the display. Your dates cannot be correct. The technological progression you describe is accurate, Sun Hee-cho interrupted, stepping forward. Her military uniform stood out sharply against the ethereal chamber. Our advancement may seem rapid by galactic standards, but necessity drove innovation. The timeline continued, showing humanity's development of fusion power, quantum computing, and finally, their independent discovery of faster-than-light travel principles. Each achievement drew more reactions from the council members, some of disbelief, others of concern. From first flight to FTL travel in less than 200 years, Tahoe's translator struggled to convey his astonishment. Impossible. Sun Hee stepped forward, her voice steady. With respect, council leader, humanity thrives on achieving the impossible. Our history is filled with moments where we faced seemingly insurmountable obstacles and found ways to overcome them. Captain Park watched as new holographic displays appeared, showing Earth's recovery from natural disasters, pandemics, and near-catastrophic climate change. Our species learned to adapt and innovate rapidly because we had to, he added. Every crisis pushed us to develop new solutions. A representative from a crystalline species chimed in, their thoughts transmitted directly through the translation field. But such rapid advancement, surely it has led to instability, to conflict. We have had our share of conflicts, Sun Hee acknowledged. But each one taught us valuable lessons about cooperation and unity. The technology that brought us here today was developed through global collaboration, not competition. Dr. Kim advanced the presentation to show the current state of Earth's technology. What you see as reckless speed, we see as necessary evolution. Humanity's greatest strength is our ability to learn, adapt, and grow. Council leader Tejo raised a limb for silence as murmurs filled the chamber. You claim to have achieved in 2 centuries what took most species millennia. How can we be certain your civilization is stable enough for council membership? Captain Park stepped forward to join his crew. We don't ask you to take our word for it. We invite your evaluation. Test us. Challenge us. Let us prove through actions, not just words, that humanity is ready for its place among the stars. The chamber fell silent as Tahoe considered this. Finally, he spoke. Very well. The Council will devise a series of tests to evaluate your species' capabilities and stability. Be warned, these tests will challenge not just your technology, but your wisdom, your unity, and your character. Sun Hee smiled slightly. Council leader, with all due respect, challenging the impossible is what humans do best. As the assessment session concluded, the Earth delegation could feel the weight of thousands of alien eyes upon them. They had taken their first step toward proving humanity's worth to the galactic community. Now they would have to show that Earth's rapid advancement wasn't just a fluke of history, but a testament to their species' potential. The real tests were about to begin, and the future of human civilization hung in the balance. Security Chief Du Young walked through the dimly lit maintenance corridors of the council station, his handheld scanner sweeping methodically across the walls. The energy fluctuations he detected earlier were growing stronger, pulsing in an oddly familiar pattern that nagged at his memory. Dr. Kim, are you seeing these readings? He spoke into his communicator, sending the data stream to her tablet. The quiet hum of the station's systems surrounded him as he moved deeper into the rarely visited sections. In her temporary laboratory several levels above, Dr. Jaya Kim studied the incoming data with growing fascination. Yes, I'm seeing it. The pattern. It's not random at all. Give me a moment to analyze it. Do Young paused at an intersection of corridors, his scanner indicating the strongest signals came from behind a seemingly solid wall panel. Years of security training had taught him to trust his instincts, and right now every instinct told him they'd stumbled onto something significant. I'm going to try to access the panel, he informed Dr. Kim. As he ran his hands along the smooth surface, He felt a slight vibration. The wall seemed to respond to his touch, ancient mechanisms awakening after countless years of dormancy. Dr. Kim's voice came through his communicator with sudden urgency. "Du Young, wait. I've seen this energy signature before. It matches patterns found in some of Earth's oldest archaeological sites, particularly the ones we could never explain." The security chief pulled his hand back, but it was too late. The wall panel had already begun to transform, its surface rippling like liquid metal. Ancient symbols appeared, glowing with a soft blue light that reminded him of their first contact near Jupiter. "Jaya, I think you should come down here," he said quietly, "and bring Captain Park." Within minutes, Dr. Kim arrived with both Captain Park and military strategist Sun Hee Cho. They stood before the activated panel, watching as more symbols appeared, flowing across the surface like water. "These symbols," Dr. Kim whispered, her fingers hovering near but not touching the wall. "They're identical to markings found in caves on Earth, dating back 100,000 years. We always assumed they were early human attempts at writing. But this..." Sun Hee stepped closer, her tactical mind already analyzing the implications. "Someone was leaving us messages, guiding us. But why? And why hide the same technology here in the Council Station?" Captain Park turned to Dr. Kim. "Can you decode it?" She nodded slowly, her tablet already processing the symbols. "The basic structure is similar to what we found on Earth. It's like they wanted us to be able to read it when we were ready." As they watched, the symbols began to shift, rearranging themselves into patterns that seemed increasingly familiar. Dr. Kim's eyes widened as she recognized mathematical sequences, the same ones humanity had used to develop their first faster-than-light drive. "This isn't just a message," she realized. "It's a key. All those archaeological sites on Earth, they weren't just guiding us. They were preparing us for this moment." Do Young's scanner beeped urgently. "Energy levels are spiking. Whatever this is, it's powering up." The wall panel suddenly transformed completely, revealing a hidden chamber that hadn't been accessed in what must have been millennia. Inside, they found a room filled with technology that made even the Council's advanced systems look primitive by comparison. "Look at this," Sun Hee called out, pointing to what appeared to be a star map. "These aren't just random points of light. They're showing technological development across the galaxy. And Earth is glowing." Dr. Kim worked frantically at a console that had activated at their presence. "This is incredible. According to this data, we're not the first species they guided. But we're the first to develop so quickly, to make the cognitive leaps they hoped for." "They?" Captain Park asked. "Who are they?" Before Dr. Kim could answer, the room's systems came fully online. A holographic message appeared in the center of the chamber, showing beings of pure energy, the original architects of the Council Station. "If you are witnessing this message," the beings spoke in perfectly translated Earth languages, "then you have proven yourselves worthy of the next step. We seeded countless worlds with the potential for advancement, hoping to find species who could think beyond the expected, who could innovate rather than simply learn." The crew stood in stunned silence as the message continued. "Humanity's rapid development was not merely due to our guidance. Your species possesses a unique combination of creativity, determination, and adaptability. You did not simply follow our breadcrumbs, you forged your own path." Do Young's security training kicked in. "Captain, we need to report this to the Council." "No," Sun Hee interjected. "Not yet. This message was meant for us, specifically. We need to understand why before we reveal it." Captain Park nodded in agreement. "Dr. Kim, how long will it take you to analyze all this data?" With help from Du Young to access the systems safely, and Sun Hee to understand the strategic implications, maybe a few days. "But Captain, this changes everything we thought we knew about human history." The holographic beings seemed to smile, though their forms made it hard to be sure. "You stand at a crossroads. How you use this knowledge will determine not just humanity's future, but the future of all spacefaring races. Choose wisely. As the message faded, the four humans looked at each other, the weight of their discovery heavy on their shoulders. They had uncovered not just a mystery, but perhaps the greatest secret in the galaxy's history. The question now was, what would they do with this knowledge? The first warning came as a subtle flicker in the station's ambient lighting. Security Chief Du Young noticed it immediately, his years of training making him sensitive to even the smallest changes in his environment. He was about to contact engineering when every light in the massive council station went dark. The vast chamber, normally alive with the glow of thousands of holographic displays and environmental fields, plunged into total darkness. Panic rippled through the assembled delegates as their environmental systems began to fail one by one. Emergency powers should have activated by now. Captain Park's voice cut through the growing chaos. He activated his personal light source, its beam cutting through the darkness. Around the chamber, other Earth crew members did the same, their training kicking in automatically. Sun He's tactical mind was already racing through scenarios. This isn't a simple power failure. The backup systems are completely offline. Someone or something has taken control of the station's core functions. As if in response to her words, ancient symbols began to glow along the chamber walls, the same patterns they had discovered in the hidden room. But this time, they pulsed with an angry red light. Defense systems activating, Du Young reported, his scanner picking up massive energy signatures. These aren't council systems, they're part of the original station, and they're targeting everything that moves. Captain Park took command of the situation instantly. Dr. Kim, what do we know about these systems? Can you communicate with them? Jaya worked frantically at her tablet, which was still connected to the ancient computer they'd discovered. The original station's AI thinks we're under attack. It's activated a purge protocol. It's going to try to eliminate what it sees as hostile entities. The chamber filled with the sounds of panic as delegates from hundreds of species realized their danger. Some species required specific environmental conditions to survive, and those systems were failing fast. Sun He, tactical assessment, Park ordered, his voice steady despite the crisis. The ancient systems are superior to anything the Council has. Direct confrontation isn't an option. She paused, thinking. But they were designed to recognize and reward innovation. We might be able to use that. Do Young's scanner beeped urgently. Energy weapons charging. We have maybe 5 minutes before they start firing. Captain Park made his decision. Dr. Kim, can you use what we learned about the original builders to communicate with these systems? Make them recognize us as the innovators they were looking for. Yes, but I'll need direct access to the core systems, Jaya replied. And with the power down, we'll have to climb down 50 levels manually. Not necessarily. Sun He interrupted. She pointed to the glowing symbols on the walls. These aren't just warnings, they're maintenance pathways. The original builders would have needed quick access to all systems. Do Young studied the patterns with new understanding. She's right. These symbols match the ones we found earlier. They're not just decoration, they're a map. Captain Park took charge. Du Young, you and Sun He get Dr. Kim to the core. I'll coordinate with the Council security teams to protect the delegates. He activated his communicator. All Earth personnel, implement Emergency Protocol Alpha 3. Protect the delegates at all costs. The team moved with practiced efficiency. As they approached the glowing symbols, the wall shifted just as it had before, revealing the hidden access tube that dropped into the darkness below. The original builders left us these tools, Jaya said, as they began their descent. They wanted to see if we'd recognize them and use them creatively. Above them, the chamber erupted in chaos as the first defense systems came online. Automated drones materialized from hidden compartments, their ancient weapons glowing with deadly energy. Captain Park organized the Earth crew and Council security into defensive positions, using their portable lights to create safe zones for the delegates. Their Earth training, focused on adaptation and quick thinking, proved invaluable in the crisis. Down in the maintenance tubes, Du Young led the way using his security training to avoid the activated defense systems. Sun He watched their backs while Dr. Kim worked to decode more symbols as they descended. The core should be just ahead, Jaya announced as they reached a massive door covered in pulsing symbols. The patterns are similar to what we found before, but these are like nothing I've ever seen. We don't have time for a careful analysis, Sun He warned. Those weapons up there are about to start firing. Do Young studied the door for a moment, then reached out and traced a pattern he remembered from their earlier discovery. The symbols responded to his touch, rearranging themselves into new configurations. It's not about following their path, he realized. It's about creating our own. Jaya understood immediately. Together, they began inputting new patterns, combining their knowledge of the ancient systems with human innovation. The door responded, its symbols shifting from red to blue. In the chamber above, Captain Park and his crew had managed to establish safe zones for most of the delegates, but time was running out. The ancient weapons were fully charged, their targeting systems locking onto life signs throughout the station. Just as the weapons prepared to fire, the symbols throughout the station flashed brilliant blue. The defense systems powered down, and emergency lighting came online. Through the station's communication system, Jaya's voice rang out. We've done it. The original systems recognize us as inheritors. They're standing down. As the crisis subsided, Captain Park looked around the chamber at the assembled delegates. Earth's crew had worked seamlessly together, protecting representatives of species that had previously doubted humanity's readiness for council membership. The lesson wasn't lost on anyone present. Humanity had faced a crisis that threatened the entire council and had solved it not through superior technology or force, but through innovation, teamwork, and the ability to think beyond established patterns. The ancient builder's test had been passed, though not in the way anyone might have expected. Humanity had proven itself not just ready for membership in the galactic community, but perhaps essential to its future. The council chamber hummed with renewed energy as Dr. Jaya Kim stood before the assembled delegates. The crisis had passed, but the revelations it brought were just beginning to unfold. The holographic displays around her showed the ancient code in its fully decoded form, a testament to hours of intense work by her team. Honored members of the council, she began, her voice clear and confident. What we experienced was not a malfunction, but a final test left by those who came before us, the first council. The chamber filled with murmurs as translation fields carried her words to every species present. Captain Park and Sun He stood nearby, while Du Young maintained his vigilant watch over the newly restored security systems. The beings who built this station were not simply advanced aliens. Jaya continued, manipulating the holographic display to show the complete message they had discovered. They were searchers, looking for species that could think beyond the expected paths. The decoded message floated in the air, its symbols now transformed into clear text that all could understand. It told a story of precursor beings who had evolved beyond physical form, who had seeded the galaxy with the potential for advancement. They didn't want followers, Sun He added, stepping forward. They wanted innovators, species that could face challenges and find new solutions. Council leader Teo, still processing the events of the crisis, spoke up. And humanity's response to the crisis. This was part of their test. Yes, Dr. Kim confirmed. The defense systems were designed to activate in a way that would force cooperation and creative thinking. The first council believed that true civilization advancement required both. Captain Park addressed the chamber. When the crisis began, Earth's crew didn't try to overpower the ancient systems. We didn't even try to just survive them. Instead, we looked for understanding, combined our different skills, and found a new way forward. The holographic displays shifted to show recordings of the crisis. Earth's crew organizing protection for vulnerable delegates, Du Young and Sun He's tactical adaptation of ancient pathways, and Dr. Kim's innovative approach to communicating with the original systems. The first council left markers throughout the galaxy. Jaya explained. "We found them on Earth in our archaeological records. Similar markers exist on many of your worlds too, though they may have manifested differently." She brought up images of ancient Earth artifacts, showing how they connected to the station's systems. They weren't just watching us develop. They were leaving tools for us to find when we were ready. Tools that required creativity to understand and use. He stepped forward again. But the real test wasn't in finding these tools. It was in how we used them. During the crisis, we combined military strategy, scientific understanding, and diplomatic cooperation. We didn't just follow the path they left. We forged our own. Council Leader Tejo considered this. And this approach, this combination of skills, this is what they were looking for. More than that, Du Young spoke up from his security station. They were looking for species who could work together, who could combine different approaches to solve problems no single approach could handle. Dr. Kim nodded. The first council believed that the future of galactic civilization would require more than just technological advancement. It would need species who could innovate, cooperate, and grow together. She brought up the final message they had decoded. The words glowed in the chamber. "To those who find this message, you have shown yourselves capable of moving beyond the expected. The galaxy's future requires those who can see new paths, who can combine wisdom with innovation, strength with understanding. This legacy is now yours to carry forward." Captain Park addressed the chamber. "Humanity doesn't come before you claiming superiority. We come offering partnership. The First Council's legacy belongs not to any one species, but to all who can work together to build something greater than themselves." The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. The Council had existed for millennia, governing space travel and interspecies relations, but now they understood that an even older authority had been watching, waiting for species who could truly innovate. The crisis proved that humanity is ready for Council membership, Jaya concluded. But more importantly, it proved that together, all of us, we can face whatever challenges await us among the stars. As the presentation ended, the chamber filled with the sounds of hundreds of species discussing this revelation in their own ways. The First Council's test had revealed not just humanity's potential, but the potential of all species to work together in new and unexpected ways. The future of galactic civilization would be built not on following ancient paths, but on forging new ones together. The council chamber glowed with 1,000 different lights as representatives from every spacefaring civilization gathered for the historic moment. The earlier crisis and revelations about the First Council had transformed what would have been a simple membership ceremony into something far more meaningful. Council Leader Tejo stood at the center of the chamber, his environmental suit gleaming under the ambient light. Today marks not just the addition of a new species to our council, but the beginning of a new chapter in galactic history. Earth has shown us that the path forward lies not in following tradition, but in finding new ways together. Captain Park stepped forward as Earth's designated representative. Behind him stood his crew, Dr. Jaya Kim, Sun Hee Cho, and Security Chief Du Young, along with Ambassador Lee Su and other Earth officials. They wore their formal uniforms, cleaned and pressed for this historic occasion. "The Council recognizes Earth as a full member," Tejo announced, his words echoing through translation fields throughout the chamber, "with all rights, responsibilities, and privileges thereof." As Captain Park accepted the ceremonial data crystal that symbolized Earth's membership, the chamber filled with sounds of approval from hundreds of different species. Some flashed bioluminescent patterns, others released harmonic tones, and still others expressed their welcome in ways humans had yet to understand. "We come not to dominate, but to contribute," Park spoke, his voice steady and clear. "Earth stands ready to face whatever challenges await us among the stars. The lessons of the First Council have shown us that our greatest strength lies not in our individual capabilities, but in our ability to work together, to find new solutions, to forge new paths." The ceremony continued with representatives from various council species coming forward to welcome Earth into their community. Each brought their own customs and traditions, creating a tapestry of cultural exchange that would have seemed impossible just months earlier. As the formal proceedings concluded, the chamber transformed into a space for celebration. Species that had once viewed Earth with suspicion now sought out human delegates to discuss future collaborations. Later that evening, away from the continuing celebrations, Dr. Kim found herself on the observation deck with Sun Hee and Du Young. The three stood in comfortable silence, watching the swirling colors of the galactic core through the station's massive windows. "Look at that view," Sun Hee whispered, not wanting to break the peaceful moment. "All those stars, all those worlds. And now we're part of something that connects them all." Do Young nodded, his security training making him notice how the station's defensive screens were nearly invisible, despite protecting them from the core's radiation. "A few months ago, we were studying Jupiter's radiation patterns. Now we're helping shape the future of galactic civilization." "We did it," Sun Hee said softly, echoing the feelings they all shared. "No," Du Young replied with a gentle smile. "We're just getting started. The first council left us more than just technology. They left us a mission. To keep pushing forward, to keep finding new ways." Dr. Kim turned from the window to look at her friends. "You know what amazes me most? How quickly everyone adapted. Not just us, but all the council species. Once they saw what was possible when we worked together." Their conversation was interrupted by Captain Park's arrival. He joined them at the window, still wearing his formal uniform from the ceremony. "The Pathfinder's being prepared for our next mission," he announced. "The Council wants us to help establish the first joint human-alien research station. They're calling it Project New Dawn." The four of them stood together, watching distant stars shine. Each star represented possibilities. New worlds to explore, new species to meet, new challenges to face together. "The Pathfinder's first mission brought us here," Park continued, "but our real journey is just beginning. The galaxy is changing, and we get to help shape that change." Through the window, they could see their ship docked at the station, its hull still bearing the marks of its transformation. The Pathfinder had carried them across space, through first contact, crisis, and triumph. Now it would carry them into humanity's next great adventure. "Whatever comes next," Sun Hee said with quiet determination, "we'll face it together. Not just us, not just Earth, but all of us. Every species, every world, working to build something greater than ourselves." As artificial night fell over the station, the four friends remained on the observation deck, sharing this moment of transition. Behind them, the sounds of celebration continued as hundreds of species embraced a new era of cooperation and discovery. The stars beckoned, brighter than ever before, promising adventures yet to come. Humanity had found its place among the stars, not as conquerors or followers, but as innovators and partners in the greatest journey of all, the journey forward, together.